Carlin.
Oh, I didn't say anything problematic this time.
This time. Hello
It's
and
coming.
welcome to... Damn it, Seth, stop stepping on my lines.
I'm sorry.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Internet Friends, the episode where we say, hey, Drake.
Yep.
Hey, Drake.
Looking directly at camera.
With a smile.
In our bell bottoms, yeah.
So yeah, obviously we are now in the post-Super Bowl era of the timeline, which is, you know, kind of refreshing for some of us who don't like sports and are tired of hearing about them.
Yes.
Me specifically?
The three of us specifically aren't very big sports fans. Well, I am kind of a sports fans because I used to play them, but obviously, like, I haven't watched a Super Bowl in like several years. However, there was an incentive this year to watch something from the Super Bowl. And that
Absolutely.
was the Kendrick Lamar halftime show, which, quite frankly, lived up to the hype.
So fucking
It
good.
absolutely did. There were people, I kept seeing people being like, do you think he's going to play Not Like Us? Do you think? And I'm like, oh,
There's no
his
way he
biggest
wasn't.
song? Yeah,
There's no way.
exactly.
Nah, why would he?
Yeah, they were just like,
Yeah.
but they could sue the NFL. It's like the NFL has lawyers; they'll be okay.
The
They would've
NFL
asked
has
him,
good
yeah.
lawyers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Not only-
exactly.
Not only that, they also have like probably a bag set to go to just pay the fees and just call it a day.
Probably.
Uh.
Ugh.
But there's a lot of elements to the show. I have like a bunch of things that are like my favorite. You know, everybody's talking about like specifically the choreography. I think was actually top notch. The production value was holy shit. Like didn't think a Super Bowl halftime show could do something on that level. They've gotten better over the years. I remember the Beyonce one a few years ago was actually pretty impressive. They did some interesting stuff with The Weeknd one year, but like this one was just like the camera work, the choreography, just how tight it was. Like, it was a spectacle.
Yeah. It was great. And no stupid sharks.
Yeah. Well, we did have Uncle Sam Jackson, but that was actually one of my favorite parts.
That was awesome.
That
That
gets
was
better
rad.
the more I learn about it, honestly, because I didn't realize how tied he was to so much of Black history. And I'm just like, it makes me frustrated, which I'm sure you guys have heard that, like, very similar, where, like, unfortunately, the older white people in my life, they're like, well, I just couldn't understand him. And I'm like, that's so crazy, because I thought English was your first language. You're speaking it just fine right now. What's the fucking problem? I
Right?
wonder what it is. And I'm like, also people saying, they're like, oh, well, they should have picked a genre that was, like, more for everyone. And I was like, actually, this was for you. You just weren't listening. So this show
Yes.
was exactly fucking for you. You just could not be bothered to listen. I was like, this is honestly the most blatant Kendrick's ever been in terms of like a political protest. So I don't know how else to explain that to people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I'll be honest that I was never inherently a Kendrick fan of his music as he was coming up, because it was just like at a time when I was just out of listening to the genre. Like, it was just like, so like when he was like really getting popular, a lot of people were talking about it. I was like, yeah, I haven't really been listening to a lot of hip hop, so like I don't really know. And then as I've gotten more into it, it's just like, okay, yeah, I get it now.
He was gone for a while too, so I think that's a little fair on your part. Like, he wasn't releasing anything for a while either. So
Yeah, I think it was around when like they started doing the Black Panther, and like, you know, that, you know, soundtrack became very like kind of big at the time, and he was behind production of it, so it was just
yes,
like it started making me kind of look at it a little bit closer.
yeah. Oh, and SZA was super fucking good. She has such a lovely fucking voice. Like, I'm just like, what an excellent, and also Serena Williams.
I
Oh
was
my
about
God.
to
was
say,
gonna
I was
That was so
Serena
good.
Williams, like I watched, like, because I always knew Serena Williams was an attractive woman, but that was just like, damn, okay. Gotta add something to a list real quick. Hey God.
And important.
And-
It was an important moment.
Oh yeah, no, like
Yeah,
like the layers to it. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, it's Serena Williams crip walking to Not Like Us. There's like layers to the significance of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then
So good.
And we talked about, like, obviously I referenced at the beginning of the show, like, you know, the when he gets to Not Like Us and he has like that moment just turning directly to face the camera saying, "Hey Drake," and just going through the line,
Smiling like a little cutie pie.
and then of course the entire crowd singing "Hey My Hair" in unison.
So good.
Yeah, that was so great.
Yeah.
It was just awesome. It was so good. I loved it. I actually haven't watched a Super Bowl halftime show in many years, and this
They
is the
haven't
first one I've
been
watched
that
in a while.
good. Like I said, the production values may be done, but again, like the artist has been hit and miss. Like I think last year was Dre and Snoop and all that posse.
What was Usher? When was Usher? I did watch Usher.
Usher was last year. You are correct. Usher was last year.
Usher's good, but Usher's Usher. Like that's
Yeah, that was like trying to split the gap between like relevant contemporary artists and like people who are just like yes, the artist my parents know.
Correct.
Usher is.
Yep. I saw one white person on TikTok complaining, being like, they couldn't have gotten somebody who plays an instrument. And I'm like, that's not how Super Bowl halftime shows work. Absolutely. Nobody is actually playing
literally
an instrument.
Ever.
The only thing that's live is the vocals. So
you can even tell, like with some of the electric vehicles, electric instruments, they don't even have a plug or a radio transmitter plugged in. So like anybody who knows anything about music tech is just like, no.
Yeah, I remember the Red Hot Chili Peppers did it one year forever ago.
Yeah, it was Bruno
and
Mars.
Oh, okay. And like Flea's bass is just not plugged in. You can see clearly the jack in like several
the camera
spots.
was like right underneath him, and like you could like see specifically. It's like it's not plugged into anything.
Yeah.
And like that's fine. I realize it is a television spectacle, so like you have to do things for TV that don't work for like a stage performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you got to set up and tear down so quick.
Yeah, and like it's fine. Like we all know, we all know what it's about. Like, but still, again, it was great. So
good. I did hear some white people also, of course, complaining about his song selection, and I'm just like, I was explaining this to my partner. I was like, to my understanding, Kendrick does not do anything on accident. Everything he does is so calculated and so purposeful. So I'm just like, every track he picked, people were mad that he didn't play a lot of older stuff. I was like, he just quietly dropped the biggest album of the year, and it was like the biggest song of that year. So yeah, motherfuckers, he's gonna play that. It's important.
Yeah.
That's intentional.
And like, I also get like fans of an artist wanting to hear older stuff, but like, at some point, like you kind of have. If the oldies aren't the goodies, then don't bother trying to bring them out.
He played Humble, which was also great and also intentional. Leave him alone.
Yeah, there was more here than just listen to my music.
It was almost bigger than the music, I would say.
Speaking of Humble and some people saying some shit on the internet, do we want to talk about Kanye before we go into the main topic?
After 2 weeks, after 2 episodes of Bree's favorite,
Bree's favorite musical artist, Kanye West. Roll the tape. Roll the tape.
No. I was saying he was the hardest to delete. I did delete all his stuff a long time ago. I
this
just
is
used to be a fan.
history.
It fucking is not.
Bree's quitting the show before we even get to homework.
No, I haven't listened to him in a long fucking time. But the whole fucking point of that conversation, which I started, motherfuckers, was that what artist was the hardest for you to get rid of? He was the one for me just because of my history with him. But he is literally, I don't even know if he thinks he's actually a Nazi. He is clearly off his rocker at this point.
Yeah.
Which I would almost feel bad if it wasn't gone. It didn't go this fucking far, but man, he just keeps falling down.
There's been enough opportunity for him to get help at some point. Like some people are just past the point of saving.
Yeah.
He is 100%.
And now he's getting divorced. Again. Which I knew that was coming at the Grammys. When I saw what he obviously made, I can't remember her name right now, Where, and she did not look happy about any of it. And I was like, oh yeah, they're not staying together very much longer.
I would hope not.
I know someone close to him get him some help. Like he needs to be on some sort of medication. Like he is clearly in psychosis. Like I don't feel bad because again he has access to things, but I was like,
I don't inherently advocate for involuntarily admitting somebody to a help facility, but there needs to be some kind of intervention at some point.
Yeah, 100%. He's
at this point I'm not. Yeah, at this point I don't know if anything could help him because he is so high on his own ego.
Right, and he still has a big enough fan base to validate him.
Yeah, I've seen so many memes that are like pictures of his tweets and then immediately followed by a picture of somebody in a straitjacket rocking in a bed. And it's like, He released a Graduation. He released Graduation.
I've seen that one. Yeah,
he had a song chart last year, which is crazy. I had no idea. I never heard it. It's not a good fucking song.
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, he really does. Like, he has fans still. I was like, friends, like, what's it gonna take?
Yeah, no, I remember a few years back, right when basically okay, we all need to start having a conversation about Kanye. Like, really was starting to kind of get there. I think around Life of Pablo was the album, was where we were like starting to kind of like, okay, we need to talk about this. And like, yeah, again, another white boy was just like, I don't know, I just really like Kanye. I think he's just like, he's doing weird stuff. I was like, dude, please take a minute. Just take a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been lots of opportunities to back away from that, like the anti-Semitism, like actually claiming he's a Nazi, the swastika shirts. I'm like, I think this is already like, we were already off the fucking deep end, and this is like something else completely. So there's literally no excuse to still be a fan at this point.
Yeah, absolutely not. Anyways, if you are going through any kind of mental crisis, it's okay to ask for help. Just want to kind of throw that out there.
But I will never.
That's why we have you on. This is why
doesn't have to.
It's why the show is his court-mandated therapy sessions every 2 weeks.
Yes.
He's the only exception.
I got a dog, a drinking problem, in this podcast. Those are the things getting me through right now.
Don't forget your vape/cigarettes, whichever one you're on this week.
Yeah. Vape this week. Dude, I got a whiff of a cigarette coming out of the grocery store the other night, and I was like, oh, fuck, I could tell it was a Pall Mall Red, and I was like, I want
when I
one
sent you
so
that
bad.
meme, and you specifically went to straight to say Pall Mall Red, I was just like, oh, Seth's Jonesing.
Yep. I miss cigarettes, man. I miss them so much.
It's too expensive. Honestly, that's what made me stop. I was like, I can't afford this habit. I need a cheaper addiction. A long time ago, but yeah, I stopped because I'm like, this shit's expensive. So.
Yeah, my cigar habit went from like very frequently to like now where like basically the last time I restocked my humidors, I still was like 2 years ago, and I still have like a full humidor left. So
well, good for both of you.
It's legal here, so
yeah. I do like weed.
Some of us Weed's just want to kill ourselves without the high.
Yeah. No, this is totally a symptom of my depression. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have the guts to actually kill myself, so I need drugs and other chemicals to do it for me.
I literally only send you TikToks just to make sure you're still alive. I wish that was an actual joke, but it actually is kind of true sometimes.
I know. I'm a fan of isolation. I will disappear for days at a time. I get it.
Yeah, no, after election, I was just like, I'm giving you 3 days, buddy, and then I expect a response.
This shit's funny. Respond.
Otherwise, I'm welfare checking this shit.
Getting a wellness check. Here it comes.
Oh, boy. Fun conversations for all. Anyways, let's move on into our homework assignment, which this time was assigned by Brie, and we played the game Unpacking. So, Brie, go ahead and take it away.
Yes. Honestly, in hindsight, I am so grateful I picked this game because I'm just like, shit's terrible, and I needed something very light, very fluffy that I could not like put a lot of my brain into. This is what I adore this game. I have a lot to talk about with this. I'll try to keep it short here before I kick it over to you two. But this is the game that inspired Game Birds because me and Alice would talk about it so many fucking times about how we love the game design of this. And I'm just like, we should start a podcast. Because, I'm a white person in my 30s. So naturally, that's what we did.
Of course.
And you just had 2 white friends ready to help.
100%. Hey, but we're women, so it's slightly different, which is very exciting.
True.
Why do you think we have Bo as a diversity hire for HR?
Exactly. A non-human. I like it. But, I'm going to keep it there. But let's start. How about Seth? You tell me what you think.
It is very relaxing, except for the fact that I have to move soon. And so the entire time I'm playing this game, I'm thinking I should be packing right now, not doing this. Also, fuck her boyfriend.
Yes.
Fuck that dude.
Before I even started playing the level, I was just like, oh, this is not gonna be fun. I will say. I will also say specifically. I knew that was coming because I did watch the Game Bros episode, like when it first premiered. So like, I knew what I was walking into.
Yes. I did want to preface that only because some people have quit the game at that point because they're like, this game is stupid and it doesn't work. I was like, no, this is on purpose. Like,
if
just
it
you
makes
gotta
you,
Yeah, this
if
is.
it makes you, so Brie, I have a confession to make.
Yeah.
I did quit the game at that point.
That's fair.
Oh,
It's an annoying level.
Yeah, no, but here's the thing. Like again, like I mentioned at the pre-show of this, like I have not been sleeping this well this week, and I think also coming off Portal, I am completely puzzled, gamed out.
Sure.
that's fair.
And that's where I'm at. And like puzzles have never been my thing for the most part. Like, and so this game is objectively great. There's no doubt about it. It's a great game. As a matter of fact, like I was talking with him last night, I was just like, yeah, like I can't finish it. Like I'm very, very just exhausted and tired, and I can't dedicate the time to it. And then she's just like, "What is this?" It's like it's a puzzle game, and I fired it up on my PC. She got through most of the game literally in about an hour and a half, including that level specifically, and like just breezed through it. And like I had been like putting in like hours at a time just to be like. But again, that's a me issue. That's a skill issue, not a this game is bad and it should feel bad issue. It's just. This game is not made for people who aren't puzzle people.
Well, it's funny you say that because like this is my relaxing game. Like especially when I am too stressed, this is what I go to because I'm like, put this thing here, put this thing here. Like it's very relaxing and like I like the whole process of opening a box, finding where things go.
It
It's
does
just,
a
like,
very good job. It is satisfying. Basically, especially in the like begin game stage where you're literally just getting everything out and put where basically you think you should be putting something.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna assume like, we're all Chaos Goblins here on the show, obviously. So we all, I'm sure, basically have unpacked stuff and it's like, I'll just put this right here for right now, and I'll get back to it later. Or it's just like, this seems like an okay enough place to put it. It does get frustrating, specifically when you get to the point where all the boxes are open, and then it tells you it's just like, actually, these things don't go here. You don't put them where they go, and then I'm just like, fuck you, I would totally put that there.
That's fine.
I kept forgetting that the dry erase board was supposed to go on the refrigerator, and I kept putting it with her art supplies, and then it would yell at me, and I'm like, no, but it's an art supply.
There was like the bottle opener in the first level, which like I guess it was a bottle opener. I don't like because like the thing is not recognizable to me when I look at it.
Sure.
And so like I spent like literally forever and like I believe it was the second level trying to figure out where that thing was supposed to go, and then once I put it in like the kitchen utility drawer, I was just like, how the fuck was I didn't know what the thing was.
I had a hard time with the magnets the first time because I couldn't recognize that they were magnets, so I was like, well, I don't even know what this fucking thing is. Like it is so pixely and small, but I feel like that frustration is very minimal compared to like the game as a whole.
Absolutely.
But I get that completely.
Yeah, Emily got caught on it was the one after the boyfriend level. That's like moved out to a new place and where to put the cup.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting, because I got screwed up on the picture on that level
of the boyfriend. And
it wasn't until I noticed that the thumbtack was going through his face that I was like, oh, that's the boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then I tried throwing it away, and I'm like, why won't it let me put it in the trash?
Emily caught it right away. She was just like, oh. And then, like, actually even let you put it in, like, a cabinet, like, the little cupboard as well. But, like, it's such an interesting way. Like, it's a simple game. It's not complicated at all. And, like, it's executed very well. But it does tell an effective story.
Yes. Without dialogue, without characters, which I love.
And that was, like, something that I really loved about it is, like, you get to the point where her girlfriend is moving in with her. Like, the boyfriend apartment... There's so much storytelling there about how there is no space for her art supplies anymore. She can't hang up her diploma. But then you get to the, like, when her girlfriend's moving in, and when that level started, I was like, oh shit, did she like order a bunch of stuff off of Amazon? And then as I'm like putting it, I'm like, oh no, there's like a distinct difference between these objects and the objects I've been playing with. This is another person moving in. And I thought that was really cool. The way they were able to distinguish characters through objects was very interesting.
But yeah, Bray, going back to your cozy game thing about it. So, like, obviously, I did not find this very cozy for me.
Sure.
And that, again, this is not me saying that, like, oh, you're stupid for thinking that this is a cozy game. It's just me being like, no, I can totally see why somebody like M or yourself or somebody else who, like, specifically just like the act of putting something away, very simple, it's not a complicated mechanic, I actually kind of consider my cozy game, and this is gonna sound stupid to say, to be like, competitive shooters.
No, for sure. I think cozy
fair.
games are different, which is honestly why I put that question on the doc, because I'm just like, I think cozy is like a very, because even if you check on TikTok, there's been some people that have recommended cozy games that are horror games, and I'm just like, not my fucking cozy game, not in a million fucking years. I can't believe you're recommending that. So
Steph's cozy game is definitely Silent Hill.
I love Silent Hill. I love that franchise. My cozy game is actually Doom. I play through Doom and Doom Eternal a lot.
Again, a shooter.
Yeah. Ultra violent. Lots of gore.
For me, shooters is not so much the violence. It's more or less just kind of like it's such a, again, it goes back to it just being such a simple mechanic. And even when you're not necessarily doing well in a round, it's just like, oh, okay, like whatever, another round. Like I can jump into like Halo for like a 15, 30 minutes. I don't have to like spend all day in Halo. Especially if you're just doing quick matches. And so, it's just jump in, jump out. Okay, good. I don't have to, dedicate hours of my day, to do something with, some RPG type stuff. Which, don't get me wrong, I love that stuff. I love those kinds of games. But, yeah, sometimes it's nice just to have something that, you can jump in and out of real quick. Just to end your night.
That you're familiar with, that is comfortable for you. I think that's why, cozy game is really, I feel like there's a certain, thought you have in your mind of what a cozy game looks like. And I think for me, that would be unpacking, but I get for a lot of people, it's just it's something just familiar, which is nice because life is exhausting and sometimes you just want to unpack a room or shoot things. So I get that completely.
And this goes back to the Tetris days where it's just it's a very simple mechanic. It's just takes what kind of occupy time we had. Mobile games. What was it? Angry Birds was a really big, just kind of it was everybody's go-to for just I'd have 15 minutes to kill while I wait for a doctor's appointment or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I want to be clear. I did find this game relaxing. In fact, the first note that I put was, this is surprisingly relaxing. It's chill. The music is very calm. I guess that's all I really had to say.
Yeah, I think one of my problems was that Em was in her writing nook. That's basically right at the corner of the couch in the same room that my office nook is. And so she's been doing late evening writing and craft sessions, and so we'll turn off all the lights, we'll put on a fireplace or simple kind of lo-fi music type stuff, and just kind of do that. And but so that audio is coming through my headphones because I wear open backs as well as trying to listen. And so the music from the game plus the music from the TV were kind of colliding and clashing a lot. So that was big. But again, that's not the game's issue. That's a skill environment issue.
Sure.
I thought the music was great. I loved the art direction. It was very, very cute, very, very adorable. I love that the main character is an artsy character, and you kind of get to see it. I actually really like the roommate level because it's similar to the boyfriend level, and that you have stuff that's crowded and everything's mishmash and everything else like that, but it's just everybody's just hey, whatever, this is a chaotic college live-in situation.
And there was still room for her.
They made space for you. Which is the biggest thing. I'm the overarching theme of this game in general is
having those two things pretty much back to back.
Yes, positive relationships and true love is making space for the people in your life, and I feel that game is this game is such a overarching theme of that. Because the roommates there's a lot going on, but they cleared a shelf for you. They made sure that your room was ready. There was spots that were clearly designated for you, so that yes, you had a lot of stuff and they had a lot of stuff, but even in the the living room, they made a spot for your console. They made a spot to keep your controllers with their controllers. It's a small detail, but it just shows that these are people that truly love this character, and they're just we're so excited to have you here. Let's clear a little space because you are a part of us. And I'm it's again small details, but again going from that to the boyfriend level where he kind of made space for you, but not really. There's so much stuff that you have to fucking move. The first drawer, and I love so much that both of you had the visceral reaction that again, I first played this game years ago, and I still have that fucking anchor in that level because I'm just this fucking asshole. His ties are everywhere. I'm having to move so much of his stuff.
Yeah.
Make me feel Emily, I can live here.
I was when Emily was playing it, when I had her play it, I was in the bedroom, and I literally heard her. I was he made her put the photo in the fuck. fucking closet. She was so mad.
The first few levels, I kept having a hard time finding the right place for the like color pencil set or the color pens, whatever. And then we get to that level and I'm like, he didn't leave her any space for art. What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Yeah, you had to put so much shit under the bed, like the ukulele and like the like your fitness stuff, which you normally put there, but like and the diploma is the big one. You were like, because that's where I got frustrated. I mentioned this on my other podcast that like I was playing it on stream for the first time and I was getting so embarrassed and so frustrated. I was like, why can't I fucking hang this diploma? There's no wall space. And then I was like, oh, under the bed. I'm not allowed to hang it up. He didn't make space for me to put it up. And I'm like, ooh, and I feel like. And I can't speak for y'all, but I'm like, I'm sure most people have been in a relationship like this where you're like, oh, this person didn't make space for me. They were never going to make space for me.
Yeah, as you can tell from the background with me and Emily's living environment, it's just like we're chaos goblins. We know like we have a really weird clashing aesthetic of things, but like it all melds together well enough.
Yeah.
Like, like again, I enjoyed more the like, first college roommate level so much more. Well, like obviously because because it's just like that felt more like my living environment where it's just like, yeah, it's a little chaotic and all over the kind of place, but like it's just like it's filled with all the things that you like and enjoy and around people you're comfortable with. Like you're around your people, whereas the boyfriend level is like clearly this is not gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and to kind of piggyback off of the like not making space and stuff in a different way, the level when she has to move back in with her parents and the photo that I didn't realize was of her and her ex, I've gone through that situation where I've had to move out of a partner or a living situation with a partner after we've broken up, and then I'm unpacking and I find a picture of us that I just, threw in the box while I was getting my shit out so I could leave a bad situation. And then it's like, fuck, what do I do with this now? I'm not ready to let it go, but I also can't have it out.
Yes, exactly.
And that's how people end up like, again, holding on to like old photos for a long time. And, sometimes they get found and then you have the memory of like that time. It's like, oh yeah, that person. Oh, here are some stories.
I found myself mixing an X the other day, and my actual body reaction to it was, yeah. I was like, oh, that person told me this thing. No.
Sage yourself a little bit. Get the bad energy out.
Get back inside repressed memories. You will not be used for positivity. You are not good enough for that.
I can never remember anything good from that relationship. Get back in there.
And this is why we have therapy, Seth. So anyway, so what about it makes it to where you can't appreciate the good things of the past?
Christianity.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Session over.
Yeah. All right. Do I have to pay for this one? We were only in for like 5 minutes.
I charged by the hour.
Okay. Shit.
Well, I'm so grateful. I'm grateful you guys seem to like it because part of what I was concerned about was one, just it being a style of game that maybe you're not used to, and two, I think this is a very for lack of a better term, this is a very feminine game. I feel like this, especially this particular character that you're following, like it hit me and Alice quite a bit because I'm like, we were young girls growing up in the 90s and the aesthetic there, like there's clearly like a sort of Lisa Frank-esque poster that you're hanging in your childhood bedroom. I was worried that wouldn't hit as much, but I'm glad that seemed to like not be a factor for either of you.
No, it was good and great, and like there were still things that like I remember, like her Game Boy and like the GameCube and everything else like that. There was things to tie me, like the D20s that basically just kind of got thrown around and used everything else like that. And like like I had stuffed animals as a kid too, and carried them through.
I have stuffed animals now.
The same.
Emily still has her rabbit that she's had since she was a baby sitting in our bedroom right now. Like it's just like,
I love that.
Like it's just. Again, there's something to say about sentimentality, even though like sometimes it just seemed like it'd be a lot easier on me if I just let this thing go. But the thing that but it again going back to kind of think sometimes it's nice to have a thing lie around because there's a memory attached to it, and you never know when there's going to be a moment where somebody's curious about it, and then you get to share that story.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I'm so happy you guys like this. I adore this game so much. And
also, not every game needs to be Doom Guy.
True.
As much as Seth would liked it too.
Hey, my favorite game is Portal, and that has a female lead as well. So lay off me a little.
Who never talks.
True.
Yeah, I'm so glad you like it, just because I feel like I'm sure there are plenty of games like this, but I think this was the first time I experienced where I got to know so much about this character through their things. And there's small details that you can really honestly ignore all the time, but I'm you can recognize this character is Jewish. This character kind of has a feminine style. Lots of skirts, lots of floral things. Always plays as a bard. Apparently had played a bard for a very long time in her D&D game. Had a pet beetle that passed away at some point. And just the fact that you could tell all these little details about this character that you really don't know the name of, you don't know much about, but it kind of made me appreciate that. I was wow, we really tell so much of our own story through our things, and there's so many ways to tell stories without a lot of dialogue, without even naming a character. I just really appreciate this level of environmental storytelling, and the fact that this could just be a very simple game where you could ignore all of those details and just unpack things, and that could be very satisfying in its own way, or you can take a closer look and really engage with the story that it's trying to tell you. Because another small detail is that your character has a disability. There's always pain pills. There's pain, and I'm just
Emily
I thought that was a replica of the Kane from Citizen Kane. That was a stupid joke just for me.
So anyways, it's gonna be Seth's last episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, terminated immediately.
He's been discharged from therapy.
All right.
Seth beat therapy, everyone.
Yeah. I'm gonna go buy some rope.
That better be for kink stuff.
Why not?
I'm single. Yeah, why not both? It's called autoerotic asphyxiation for a reason.
New favorite episode.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and you're right. It could have just been a game about unpacking stuff and had it be a puzzle game, and that would have been satisfactory. But to put this level of detail and storytelling into it, and to go above and beyond just a basic puzzle game, I really liked this. I really, really liked it.
But was it worth $20 though?
Yes, I was going to say that next, because that is probably the hottest debate about this game. A lot of people do not like it because of the price.
It was absolutely worth $20.
I think it was too. I think a question that was asked in the doc was at what point is a game worth its cost? And I've always said that if I'm paying $70 for a game, I need to get $70 of enjoyment out of the game. I don't care how much I pay for it, as long as I feel I get that back in enjoyment. And I did with this.
Yeah.
And especially because this is, again, I would argue that this game is as much a art piece as it is just how many hours of gameplay there is in the game. Because one, there's also replayability to this game as well, especially because if there were certain details that you missed, or maybe you wanted to see if there's a different way that you could organize your room as you're unpacking and all that kinds of stuff. But yeah, to me, there's no question, this was definitely worth the $20 that I paid, and especially with how much time and effort probably went into the development of this game, and how well it was executed. No, and obviously, the cost of video games are going up. People are talking about if GTA 6 is going to be, $100. And there's a lot of people in the industry rooting for it to be $100 because that means AAA now has the excuse to start charging that much.
Yeah.
And
that's a lot of money. I don't know if I'd ever pay that much for a game, to be honest. So.
I mean, they're trying to argue that because of inflation, that technically we haven't been paying more for games. But I'm also just but most inflation has been artificially done because of really shitty policy and also corporate greed. Just throwing that out there.
And also, if you look back throughout history of gaming, you'll find that most AAA titles our entire lives have been $60, which used to be much more expensive than it is today. Right?
Absolutely.
So like games, I was about to say something I disagree with, so never mind.
I was about to say, I was like, I think you're making the wrong point, bud.
Yeah, I'm making a bad point there.
Like,
I'm flying off the top of my head here.
So
they should be cheaper, is what I'm saying.
I was about to say, we just saw Republican Seth slowly turn out like the old Christian trauma. Like, we're making such great progress, even though he's no longer in therapy.
I know. He won't leave.
You saw that internalized version of me that I'm still trying to get rid of come out.
I mean, sadly, I tried to get an exorcist, but that just added to the weird Christian, guilt thing. Like, I don't have a solution for you at this point.
No, you brought them in, and I started telling them everything they were doing wrong in the exorcism. Like, no, that's not the spell you use. Is that your holy water?
It's like you're using the wrong verse.
Yeah. What? Where did you learn Latin?
Where did you get that cross? Did you pick that up at like a flea market? That's not even genuine rosewood.
Yeah.
Well, good. I thought that would be a hotter take because genuinely, if you look at any of the negative reviews on this game in particular, it is almost all about the cost. And I'm like, I do give more of a pass to indie games because I'm just like, these tend to be super small teams that like pour their heart and fucking soul into these games. And I think for me, experience factors into it a ton. Like this is a game that stuck with me a ton the first time I played it. And I would say maybe the first time I played it, I think I got like 4 to 5 hours out of it. I'm sitting at about like 27 hours total now because I have replayed the game so many times. And I will continue to replay it. Like I think experience is worth everything. The fact that it makes, I'm still thinking about it. I'm still recommending it to people. Like $20 seems like nothing to me. Like I understand that's not affordable for a lot of people. So like that is certainly a factor. But for me, like this, and $20 is nothing.
Yeah, and the game was published by Humble Games. Is that associated with Humble Bundle at all?
That I do not know.
I didn't know if there was an association there because it just said Humble Games was the publisher. So I'm wondering if they're associated with Humble Bundle, then that's also going to causes. So.
Oh yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Again, going back to some of the storytelling elements of it, like clearly have marginalized communities and other kind of social commentary going on in it. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that certainly could be the case. And
but again, I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I am just saying that like that could be a reason why it adds a little extra cost to it.
That's certainly possible. I know this is just like it's like kind of on the higher end of indie titles, but yeah, for me, it's
there's some indie games I would have paid like $30 for.
100%.
I think this one actually like borders on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say the achievements are very achievable. For people who like darker humor, there is a achievement you can get for putting a toaster in a bathtub. So
and Seth didn't do that one. We're so proud of him.
Yeah. No, I'm playing as another person. I'm not going to inflict my mental illness on somebody else.
Yeah, when you say kill yourself, you're talking about yourself. You're not saying it to somebody else.
Well, except for when I am, but
yeah, but those people deserve
100%.
it.
True.
I'm being very punchy. Again, I apologize ahead of time, but I think it's adding to the comedy of the show.
I like it. I'm here for it.
All right. Anyways,
well, thank you guys. I'm so excited you liked it.
Yeah, thank you for recommending it. I don't think I would have played it if you hadn't, just because it had escaped my sphere.
Yeah.
Well, you should listen to Game Birds then.
I missed that episode, and I specifically didn't go back and listen to it.
You could literally, it's just right there. It's the first episode.
It is.
It's the first.
It is. But I specifically didn't go back and listen to it before we discussed the game because I try to avoid when we are discussing a topic. I avoid when other people have talked about it, so I don't end up just regurgitating their points.
Sadly, I've been supporting Brie from day one, so I had already spoiled myself by, listening.
And she had to bribe me to get me to listen. I don't remember what you bribed me with, or if you ever paid out. But
I think she gave the bribe to Bo, and then Bo used it for drug money, and then you were just like, "Where did these drugs come from?"
And I will never question free drugs. I've taken Molly off the street.
I like to think that the drugs were just labeled Game Birds, and you're just like, "Hey, maybe I should." And I was like, good. That's
exactly what happened. Hey, and when I listen to Game Birds, I do feel like I'm on drugs. It's that good of a show.
Oh, shucks. Thanks, guys.
So we've had a good time playing Unpacking. Brie, thank you so much. However, I'm very sorry. We're going to have to go to war with your partner.
Let me tell you, we've been talking about that a lot.
Scary times. What's he saying as a Canadian?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm grateful because I think we had discussed previously that some Canadians on TikTok have not been super nice to Americans, and we had to, tell them to fucking sit down, be humble, because good God,
in some cases we deserve it, but
100%.
But again,
also,
glass houses don't throw stones.
Correct. I was like, they also have a lot of really dodgy fucking history that they avoid all of the fucking time. And also they want to be us so bad sometimes. So, however, regardless.
Also deep history of committing war crimes, all that good stuff. The indigenous people, of course, that's a very big issue up in Canada. Again, United States is not better. Not saying we're
not at all.
Not saying we're superior, but don't come talking shit about us when you don't have your own shit together.
110%. But yeah, I think the general, at least he's in Ontario, and I think generally speaking, people are mostly very sympathetic and empathetic. I know they're talking about potentially having more like asylum seekers from the US, and he's like, that could be a loophole for us. And I was like, I don't want to use that if that is the case. Like, there's people who are genuinely in danger and need that. It's
true.
Not me, so will make do. But yeah, it's we are concerned, honestly, just because all the retaliatory stuff, and I'm just like, is our president going to be a big bitch baby, which he always is, and be like, oh well, we're going to close the border? And I there's been like tiny whispers of that, and that does concern me. But what can you fucking do? So it's a nightmare every day.
It is.
Yep, no, every day I wake up and I'm just like, how did we get here again?
But we don't have to have paper straws. Thank God. Thank God.
Oh, yay.
We didn't let those liberals win. F them turtles.
I was getting so sick of having to finger my soda every time I went to Burger King.
I'm still going to do that.
But again, we don't kink shame here.
But that's just because you're with a guy now and you're missing your bi heritage.
Exactly, my heritage.
That's why she keeps her fingernails cut short, just as a reminder.
Well, just two of them, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just the middle two. Always the middle two.
Gotta have that leverage.
It goes.
I saw a TikTok the other day that was like the anti-lesbian. What's it called when people get their nails done? But it was just the two middle ones were long and the other ones were short.
Oh.
I think you sent me that one at one point.
Oh, did I?
You might have.
Probably.
I can tell once you've had a few because you send me the weirdest brain rot stuff, and I'm just like, Seth, go to sleep.
Sometimes I haven't even been drinking. Sometimes that's just my For You page.
I was about to say
that anime girl one I sent you was I was sober.
That was one that I was just like, Seth, I think you need to get off the internet for a little while.
Gotta reset that For You page.
Oh God.
Anyways. So there's been some movie news stuff going around. One thing that came up earlier in the week after the last show was the Fantastic Four trailer dropped. And there's a lot of divisive opinions about it. Seth, I know you've kind of talked about how you're kind of just not really into it.
Oh, that I don't give a shit about the Fantastic Four and never have? Yeah, I've been very vocal about that.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the Neo 60 retro aesthetic, really. I don't know how they're going to kind of make that story work. Granted, I'm kind of completely out of the MCU train, which we'll talk about when we talk about Thunderbolt, or the fact that Captain America's out this weekend, and I'm just I didn't even realize it was this close to being released. Just so detached. I think the thing that's getting a lot of the talk, specifically Ben Grimm's design, which I don't hate it.
Bad. I think it looks bad, honestly. I think it looks very disproportionate, and I don't really like it.
It has that stop motion animation look in a not stop motion animated setting, and so therefore it does look kind of odd.
It does. It looks like off kilter, which is very
like I don't have a problem so much with the design as much as it is with how it's animated and put in the world.
Yeah,
I think it's Go Motion, like Summonus from Howard the Duck.
Oh,
that's a reference for
good.
two people. I'm kidding. It's not Go Motion.
I'm like, I think I've seen the pitch meeting for that movie.
I'll stop being so esoteric. Sorry.
No, you know, Seth, I want to give you some credit because of this podcast and the references you make. I've gotten in the habit of just telling people I'm not getting the references that they're making. So I'm smiling and laughing. I'm going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. So
I'm glad I can be helpful. Yeah.
It's just made conversations much better. But I had exactly 3 notes about this trailer, and it was, oh, okay. And then stop trying to make a Fantastic Four happen, and who asked for this? And that's kind of, I feel like every time we talk about Fantastic Four, it kind of circles all of those things. I'm like, I feel like there's some executive who loves the Fantastic Four so much, is like, please, no, it's gotta be, it's really good, guys. Like, I'm like,
it's all old head comic guys, and it's all the old, like the comic book guy from The Simpsons. That's the one who wants Fantastic Four.
It must
that's
be.
fair.
I don't think the general public does. Like, we've rejected it multiple times now. So I'm just like, stop, just let it fucking go. Like, I don't think they're that interesting of a team. And I don't care if you put fucking Pedro Pascal in it. It doesn't matter. I don't want to see it. Nobody fucking does, especially when we're this fatigued from superhero stuff. Why now? Leave it alone.
And don't get me wrong, I'm all for bringing back a little camp into, comic book movies again, just because, like, I feel like, we've spent so long with the dark, gritty melodrama with like a quirky quip every now and again just to kind of break the tension. But like, I think the formula is just played out. It's one of those things where it's just like people have tuned out to it. Like, we need to like come up with new ideas of how, like, what we want from our superhero movies.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think I just don't want them anymore, to be honest. I just I think they could just let them go for a little bit.
I think much like with Star Wars burnout for me, it's just like, I'd be okay if this just kind of like went away for a while, because when Force Awakens was coming out, there was a lot of hype because, there hadn't been new Star Wars for a long time.
Yeah.
Now it's just like we're getting constantly bombarded, and I'm just like, I'm burnt out on it. I kind of miss having some breadth to discovering new lore I didn't know about, because it had been like so long since I'd gone back and revisited it.
Mm-hmm.
Distance makes the heart grow fonder, and constantly being reminded of something you're in love with is kind of like, all right, I need a minute. I need to go have my alone time.
Several minutes, please.
Yeah. But how do we monetize that, Seth?
You can't, and that's why it'll never happen.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there was some other movie stuff, especially surrounding Super Bowl. I have not watched anything about the new Jurassic World because I literally don't give a shit.
I am a huge fan of the Jurassic Park franchise in general, except for that last movie. That last movie is a steaming pile of shit. I think they're going to do human dinosaur hybrids finally. They've been talking about doing it since like 2003. And if they do that, I'm out. I'm completely out of the franchise at that point. And that's why I also don't like this movie. Since you didn't watch the trailer, they have to go to the island and get, because it's always back to the island, and get DNA from the 3 biggest dinosaurs, one being a land dinosaur, one being a sea dinosaur, and one being an air dinosaur. So it's just a movie version of a collectathon video game. I don't have faith in this movie, and like, I'm not excited about it at all.
I did watch the trailer, and I this is the one trailer I didn't write any notes on because I was like, I don't know, it looks like a movie with actors in it. So I just like, I will say, as somebody who doesn't find Scarlett Johansson attractive at all, nor do I like her as an actress, I don't know what it is about her in that trailer. I think because she's kind of got the no makeup look. I think she looks really pretty, and that's all I fucking have to say about that, like, at all.
Someone finally made Scarlett Johansson attractive enough for Brie. Good job, everyone.
We did it. So proud.
Yeah, I think basically same thing with the Thunderbolts. Like, who cares? Just
Is it like Suicide Squad? Is that like the vibe?
Basically, that's basically the concept. It's like not necessarily good guys, but like they're definitely people who are supposed to be like the Dark Avengers type thing. Again, don't care.
I would say, I don't think that setup is as interesting as like Hollywood thinks it is. I think that
they're
plays
running out
well.
of
Like,
they're running out of material. They're
Yeah.
completely out of
100%.
material. They're out again, like, table some of this stuff. Like, let's get past making comic book movies. Let's try making something new, and then once there's new voices and fresh ideas again for what we want to do, then we can come back and revisit it. But like, give us like half a decade off.
I'll take a decade.
Like,
honestly, I'm good.
Yeah, give us like basically like I feel like again, I say this sometimes. I feel like COVID, we should have like let things kind of go away for a while. There were some things that would have been okay to like have like, all right, well, since we can't be filming safely, let's just not film, Marvel movies for a couple of years. Let's go back to doing some like really low budget stuff where like we can film very, small and safe and social distanced films, don't requiring like big crowds or big budgets and like only like maybe 2 or 3 people who are relatively isolated.
And lower budget movies have been my favorite movies that have come out since COVID. Mm-hmm. And also to anybody who's like, oh, you all just hate Marvel. I don't care about anything DC is doing right now either. I don't care about that Superman movie that's coming out. Mm-hmm. I don't care about any of it.
It's superheroes in general. Honestly, the only thing that made me feel like slightly like us watching the old Spider-Man movies, like that kind of made me. I was like, oh, I did like kind of like this at some point. Like it reminded me like why I kind of liked these so many years ago, but I'm like, I just don't want to see it anymore. And I'm like, I don't know what's gonna take for them to give up on this. Like, who fucking is watching this anymore?
And again, like we talked about on the Spider-Man episode, it's just like it's okay to lower the stakes sometimes. Spider-Man being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, not like Avenger Save the Galaxy Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Tone it down. It doesn't have to, not everything has to be crazy big budget spectacle all the time. It's okay to maybe just like do a movie where it's just like, we lowered the budget a bit.
Yeah. Well, and Brie, my personal opinion to answer the question of what is going to make this stop is it's what happened to musicals. It's what happened to Westerns. They have a huge one that a studio puts all of the money behind, and then it completely bombs and ends up causing the bankruptcy of a studio and then taints that entire genre from here on out. And I've been saying that for a while. I think I stole that off of Spielberg or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the direction because, again, like the movie-going thing, like big, huge box office records are rarer and rarer these days. Like you're better off hedging your bet on a smaller movie with a smaller budget that can, again, make its budget back really quickly without having to sell millions upon millions of tickets. Like Nosferatu was a pretty low budget bit for what it was. And again, like it didn't have to go gangbusters. It just needed to have a couple of like really excited fans of it to build up the hype for it. And then once word of mouth spread about like, like if you're into this, go give it a watch.
Yeah, absolutely. But studios want to pretend it's still 10 years ago where every superhero movie is making $1 billion. And that just is not the case.
Yeah, no, the entertainment industry is definitely in the crosshairs of, I think, a really big crash. There's going to be a big just cratering of it. We're kind of already seeing it erode as of now, and especially with some of the labor disputes and stuff going on. Like, just getting bad.
It is. It sucks. I love cinema, and I've really not enjoyed watching the way that it's been going.
Yeah, I love all forms of art across the board. Obviously, some art is more interesting than others. And to anybody who says art shouldn't be political, please politely go find like a giant can and fuck yourself with it.
Existence is political, friends. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes.
you saying something shouldn't be political
Beautiful
is
quote.
A political statement, you jackass.
Yeah.
Especially if you have our complexion. We need to be paying attention. You're not allowed to be apolitical, you fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When someone says they don't want politics in something, they don't want other people's politics in something. They just want their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's not a way to actually get your point across. I'm sorry. Like, even if I don't agree with you, like, it's just like, look, you can use art to say whatever you want. I could call you an asshole for it, and I will.
Yep.
But that's what art's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your art has nothing to say, then it wasn't good.
Exactly.
Here.
Anyway, speaking of nothing to say, what's on your Switch?
Ah.
It's so funny because I tried to find my Switch and I have no idea where it is.
It's just gone.
It's gotta be somewhere, probably.
Turns out you sold it. It's left in the what's YYZ? Is that the airport you go through up in Toronto?
It's not, but that is the correct one.
I'm gonna be stopping through everybody's favorite airport, Denver, on my way to Austin.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna be stopping in Denver on the way to Austin to go visit my quote unquote newborn nephew pretty soon. So that's gonna be fun.
All right. Is the quote unquote for newborn or for nephew?
Is he not born? Is he not your nephew?
He was preemie. He's now basically developed to the point of where he fits in newborn clothing.
Oh,
Okay.
So,
I gotcha.
Yeah.
That's rough.
But he's doing good. Sister had a rough pregnancy, but everything's good.
I'm glad
That's
everyone's
good. I'm
happy.
glad.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And hey,
as
you'll
far
get
as my
to see
Switch
the
goes,
lizard
it's just-
people
the lizard people.
and all the satanic imagery.
Yeah, that's true. I do love good satanic imagery.
Who does
It's great.
But keep your politics out of my satanic imagery. No, as far as my Switch goes, yeah, I just have, Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart, Smash Bros, the generic kind of like things you have on your Switch. Again, PC Gaming Master Race, it's more interesting to talk about my Steam library than it is my Switch.
Yeah. I only put that on because all three of us have Switches. And
I think
Well,
so
some of
it's
us are
easier than
dumb.
I got my Switch to play Animal Crossing.
Everybody missed that joke.
And that game is terrible. So I was very sad that I got a Switch for that reason, because it is the worst version of Animal Crossing. It is so fucking boring. I only liked it to which honestly, how I get enjoyment out of a lot of games is just buying different outfits. I would literally wake up, make sure that the Able Sisters were open, make sure that I could buy new clothes, and I had so many outfits. I was like, oh, this game's not fun.
So are you going to get Hello Kitty Island Adventure?
Can I tell you, that was going to be our next episode of the Game Birds, but it's a little expensive. So.
I was about to say, I don't think that qualifies as indie.
We also played Infinity Nikki, which is not
Yeah,
an
I
indie
guess
game.
that's true.
It's our podcast. We can do what we want. But
yeah, I was about to say, it's my podcast. And if I want to talk about jinxing up my character in an MMORPG, I'm going to do it.
And I fucking did it. We did it. So, yeah, I think honestly, I have that. I think I have Pokemon Sword and Shield. I think I have both. Full disclosure as well, I got my Switch from somebody I was sleeping with at the time. So it did come preloaded with a couple of things that I have never played.
That's fair.
I think Cozy Grove and Pokemon Snap, which I have also never played, and
I still need to go back and play that. I played Pokemon Snap so much on N64 back in the day. I feel like I need to go back and play it.
I was so excited. Yeah, I bought it the day it came out, and I never fucking touched it. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I think it got mixed reviews from a lot of people, but I think again, Pokemon fans are Pokemon fans. Like they're gonna buy it no matter what.
Yeah. I did play the new Pokemon Snap, and I played hours and hours of the original. Just get a Switch Online account and download the ROM. It's better.
Yeah.
The old game did not. The new game did not impress me.
Good old Nintendo, basically not improving on anything they've ever done in the past.
Yeah.
And they don't have to keep buying it, so.
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be getting a Switch 2 unless they have some kind of killer game I need to get. It's not on my list.
Consider we all keep forgetting that we own Switches. I don't think we're the demographic anymore.
Yeah.
No. Well, and I've never really been into Nintendo consoles. The reason I got the reason I got my Switch was because I read Console Wars years ago, and I had been waiting for a Nintendo console that had representation for all of their games that I could finally step into. And even then, it took me 3 years to buy it, and I bought it for Cuphead, which isn't even a Nintendo game.
Yeah. Should have just gotten a PC.
It's so good. I know. You keep telling me.
One day Seth will love me.
I do love you. I just don't respect your life choices.
I mean, I don't respect my life choices. That's why I keep making them.
He just wants to love.
Also, have you seen my life choices? It's not.
I've seen your For You page. I've seen enough.
Fair.
All right. Well, this has been actually a really short and sweet episode, but a fun episode nonetheless. But we still need to do our homework assignment. So, Seth, what do we got lined up for next show?
I want to rewatch Batman and Robin. You know, just something stupid, dumb. I can turn my brain off for.
I'm in.
Okay, good,
Cool
good,
party.
good. Yeah, it was that or Black Dynamite, and then I was like, should 3 white people be talking about black culture?
I was about to say, unless we could
No.
I was about to say, unless we could get a guest appearance to like at least even out the spectrum of our skin tones, I'm like kind of I'm gonna go ahead and say hard pass on that.
All right, yeah. So Batman and Robin, it is.
Sounds
I'm excited.
Good. My pen's not working.
All right. Well, anyways, thanks everybody for joining us for another episode of Internet Friends. I am joined back at Kunaloon and that's Seth23. You can find us on various social media. Seth is sorry.
Yep. Always.
And we will see you guys next time.
Bye.